Servicemen of the occupying Russian army have displayed the bodies of their fellow soldiers in a large area that has been lying there for a long time. The Russian soldier, who called the area hell on earth, said that the number of corpses was excessive and that bad smell was spreading in the area. The images were shared on Telegram channels. It should be noted that this is not the first case of Russian soldiers not evacuating the bodies of their dead comrades for a long time, abandoning them on the battlefield.
Сейчас снег. Вот еще один. Земля пухла. Тоже наш. Запах. Блять, ничего нельзя привыкнуть. Это запах. Вот они. Братская могила. Вот еще один. Дальше? Мы поставили 6. Еще один. Пиздец, блядь. Ох, сука, погода. Утром ливень. Сейчас за час снега нахуярило. В Гондоне и Буча. Вот они лежат. Это все наши. Хохлов нету. Крестик на шее висит с цепочкой. Цепочка золотая. Но никто не посмел трогать. Вот еще двое. Еще один. А дальше не знаю, хуй, что под ногами не пойду. Еще один. Как раз вон еще один. Раз, два, вон, третий. Ёбаный в рот, блядь. Я ебал. Двое. Еще двое. Раз, два. Это что нахуй из-под снега видно? Пизда. Вот она нахуй. Постройки начинается. Водонапорка. Вон она. Это ебаная Невская. Но мы его прошли. Это окраина уже. Передний край к петухам. Дорога длинная, блядь. Как в фильме ужасов, везде броники, каски, сука, аптечки. Пацаны окапываются, пехота. Наши. О, у нас блиндажа торчит. Че, как дела? А? Бля, братан, снимай.
A ceasefire in Ukraine would be a strategic defeat for Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. But rejecting the US offer would be equally disadvantageous, the Times reports. It is noted that the situation in the Kursk region demonstrates the ability of the Russian army to continue the offensive, albeit at a grueling pace. The Russian economy, which has often been described as being on the brink of collapse, has outperformed expectations, and many analysts now believe it can maintain its current state of war for at least another year, the article says. Thus, the ceasefire agreement will be perceived as a defeat for Putin. A lasting, unconditional ceasefire would cement Ukraine as a free and independent country, closely linked to Europe and outside Russia's sphere of influence. Once the shooting stops, Ukraine's airports will reopen, foreign aid will flow more quickly, and there will be a strong sense of success across Ukraine. This is not what Russia has been fighting a bloody war for 3 years. Putin will have a hard time explaining to his followers why he has spent so much blood and treasure, said Malcolm Chalmers, Deputy Director General of the Royal United Services Institute. At the same time, the Times explained why rejecting the ceasefire proposal would be disadvantageous for Russia. The Kremlin has repeatedly tried to portray Ukraine as an obstacle to peace. If Putin refuses, he will shatter that illusion and risk punitive measures from the White House, including tougher economic sanctions on Russia and increased military aid to Ukraine designed to force him to the negotiating table. Moreover, he risks losing favor with President Trump, whose presidency has precipitated an extraordinary geopolitical realignment that has largely benefited Russia. Let us recall that on March 11, negotiations between the US and Ukraine took place in Saudi Arabia, as a result of which Kiev agreed to a proposal for an immediate 30-day ceasefire. As Reuters reported, citing its own sources, Russia then presented the US with a list of demands for concluding an agreement to end the war. It was noted that the Kremlin's conditions were broad and similar to the demands it had previously put forward to Ukraine, the US and NATO. At the same time, The Economist notes, the ceasefire is not in Russia's favor, and Putin will do everything to delay the decision as much as possible. The temporary pause will give Ukraine a chance to restock its weapons, and it could last longer because polls suggest Russians are war-weary. Whichever side resumes fighting first would draw international condemnation and the wrath of Donald Trump, the article says. Putin's problem, though, is that he hasn't yet gotten what he wanted in Ukraine. His goal was to subjugate or cripple the country, sever its ties with the West, get rid of its troubled president, Volodymyr Zelensky, and permanently weaken its military. But despite the huge losses of 150,000 to 210,000 Russians killed, all Putin managed to do was seize about 11% of Ukraine's territory, adding to the 7% or so he seized in 2014. The end did not justify the means, The Economist points out. At the same time, Putin is looking for an opportunity to win back with the help of Trump what he failed to capture on the battlefield. The danger now is that Putin will try to put his own conditions on the proposed ceasefire, calling for no more American aid, early elections in Ukraine or international recognition of the territory he has seized, the article says. And if Trump concedes, he risks undermining the deal with Ukraine negotiated by his own administration. At the same time, The Economist believes that Putin may try to reduce the effect of the ceasefire proposal by endlessly delaying it under the pretext of seeking clarification. However, the US must show firmness. Stopping the destruction and carnage that have marked the last 3 years would be an achievement for Mr. Trump, even if it is temporary. He has put shameless, and harmful, pressure on Ukraine, which was easy. Now it is time to put pressure on Putin.